Hi, it's Julie here at Great Golf Solutions. In this first segment of the full swing, we want to talk about the grip. Like I've mentioned before, the grip I feel is one of your key fundamentals that you really have to have a good understanding and a solid basis for. You really want to get your hands on the grip quickly and efficiently, and don't think about it once you step up to the golf ball. Kind of a comparison is if you watch a tennis player or a baseball player, what you'll notice is they have their grip and they know how to put their hands on the racket or the baseball bat right away. And that's the same kind of thought process that you want in golf. You don't want to have to sit there and think about your grip once you step up to the shot out on the golf course. So let me try to give you some good solid fundamentals that I know can help with your grip and give you consistency with it. So what we'll talk about is we're going to assume that everyone is right-handed. So if I mention the top hand or the bottom hand or the lower hand, the top hand is going to be your left hand, lower hand is going to be your right hand. So let's get started. What I like to have my students do is I actually like to have the club resting on the ground, as opposed to some people will have the club lifted up here, and that's just a personal preference for me. I like to have them because this is kind of how they're going to feel it when they're out hitting golf balls. So I have the club resting on the ground. Make sure, we'll just go real quickly, this is the leading edge of the club and the sole. What I want to do is make sure that sole and leading edge is square to my target or a particular target. And as I sit up, what you'll notice is on the grip, and most every grip that is going to come on any type of golf club you have is going to have some type of design or lines and or wording on the front. And so it's pretty easy to make sure that that is, the club is square and it's down a straight line. What I'd like to do is talk about the left hand. What you want to do is you want to avoid gripping the club in your palm. You're going to grip it. It's going to feel more like you're gripping it in your fingers. And what that allows you to do is have a more neutral grip. So with this being the base of the fingers, I like to have my students feel the pressure point on the top part of the palm, this pad, and then also right here in the crook of your finger. And so as I set the club down, it's going to go slightly diagonally across the base of my fingers. And I'm going to wrap my fingers, get those pressure points, feel the pad, and the pad of the hand is going to get right on top of the club. And by doing that, my right thumb is going to rest on the club slightly to the right, off center of the line going down the club. So it's going to be slightly right of center. And with that, I'm going to have a V here with my thumb and my forefinger. And this V is going to point just right of my chin. If you want to, I tell my students anywhere from right of your chin to your right shoulder. And also, as I set the club down on the ground, I can see these first two knuckles on my left hand. So if the position of your hand were more in the palm, it would look more like this. And then your fingernails would be pointing more up at you. So, like I said, diagonally across the base of your fingers, I feel it in the crook of my finger here and get this pad, the top pad on the back of my hand right up there, and my thumb is going to be just right of center. I like to have my thumb going down the club as opposed to really tight up here. This thumb is going to give me a good resting spot for my right hand. So V to your right of your chin to your right shoulder, be able to see your first two knuckles. If you want to really understand, and if you're really a true beginner, take your hand off and put your hand back on, and just continue doing that until you kind of get a feel for it. Your right hand is going to come in from the side, and I bring mine slightly underneath and in from the side. It's going to rest more in your fingers. You're going to grip the club, and then the thumb of your left hand is going to fit right in the palm or the lifeline of your right hand. And as I set my hand on there and cover that thumb, what you'll see is that my right thumb is not going to be rest on the left side of the club, and the V there formed by the thumb and the forefinger is going to point in the same direction as the V on my left hand. And then what I also like to tell people, just as another point of interest, and so visually, is that you kind of see a cross section of your fingernails. So as you get the hand on there, the V's point in the same direction. I see a cross section of my fingernails on my right hand, and I don't see my left thumb. That's another key thing, is you don't want to have it to where your hands separate. One of the things with the grip is you definitely want to make sure your hands work together. So another aspect of your grip is that your palms are going to be parallel. So if your left hand goes this way, your right hand goes that way, and conversely like that. What this is allowing you to do, this is considered a neutral grip, and as you swing the club, it's going to allow you to have a better opportunity to get that club square at impact. Now, another thing about the grip that is of concern to a lot of people is grip pressure. And I like to say, I mean, you hear people talk about grip pressure in reference to quite a few things, like an egg in your hand. So if you squeeze the egg, a fresh egg, you want to make sure you're not going to break the egg. I think the easier way to do is if you think of pressure being scored 1 to 10, 1 being the least amount and 10 being the most, I'm somewhere, I like to have people do somewhere around a 3 to 4 when they set up to the ball. And the main reason I say that is because as you set up to the ball, the ground is really assisting in holding the club, in you not feeling all the pressure of holding the club. You're resting it on the ground. So if you start with too strong of a grip from the get-go, it's only going to increase in pressure as you swing, and then you're not going to be able to feel anything when you are swinging your club. So if you think 3 to 4 on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, as you start your backswing and you pick the club up and you start your swing, your pressure will automatically increase. But what you want to be able to do when you swing the golf club and when you're playing golf is you want to have feel for where you are at all times, where your club is at in your swing and how it feels at impact. So just to briefly go over everything, fingers, the base of the fingers on the left hand, you're going to place it there, get this pad up on the top. Left thumb is going to be slightly to the right center of the grip. Right hand is going to come over, cover that left thumb. Right thumb is going to be just to the left of center of the grip. And you're going to be able to see your first 2 knuckles here and then a cross section of your fingernails on the right hand. Grip pressure is going to be about a 3 to 4 out of 10, 10 being the strongest. And then as you're learning this grip or learning any grip, I want you to take your hands off and on the club all the time. If you're out on the driving range and you're hitting a bucket of golf balls or you're practicing for an hour, don't leave your hands on the club the whole entire time because you're not going to get a true understanding of how to grip it. And then the last thing that I want to mention to you is there's 3 different types of grips that you'll see golfers use. And it all refers to how you lock the fingers in the hands or lock the fingers around the grip. So as you can see, my right hand comes over and it overlaps in between my first and second finger of my left hand. So that's considered an overlap grip. There's also an interlock grip, which is the forefinger of your left hand and the pinky of your right interlocking together. And then you'll occasionally see people do a 10-finger grip or considered a baseball grip. A 10-finger grip is, it's not really my preference to have students do a 10-finger grip. Generally the students I have that do use it are juniors just starting out with small hands or beginning women who have really delicate, tiny hands. I'm a big fan of the overlap. It's a grip that I've used my entire life. But the interlock is also an option too. The one thing that you want to think about is you want to get to where you have the most control of the club. And just by overlapping, I'm only taking 1 finger off the club. And if you interlock, you're really taking 2 fingers off. So it's just something to consider. Go ahead and play around with them. The key thing being is you want to make sure that you totally have a good solid grip before you really go any further in the game. So with that being said, let's move on to the setup.